Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Soccer Sharps, a soccer betting podcast. Jordan, we're back for weekend action, baby. We've got 10 matches across all the European leagues, so stick around, baby. Here we go.
Martial, Herrera, Ibrahimovic! Oh my God, an insane goal! I've just seen the most insane goal I have ever seen on a football pitch! Balotelli, Aguero!
Jordan, we're back off of a Champions League week, which turned out to have some very exciting matches and more exciting for our pocketbooks and bankrolls. How'd you clean up this midweek, Jordan?
Pocketbooks, Dev. You're carrying a pocketbook these days?
Pocketbooks, yeah. I'm taking it back to 1920. See?
I know. I just thought a pocketbook was a purse, but maybe a billfold is what you mean. Anyway.
Either way, they're stacked up with cash.
We got sacks of money like Scrooge McDuck, like the emoji. Okay, we had a great midweek. Listen, you did a lot of the heavy lifting. Give yourself a round of applause, Dev. Cashing a plus 400 banger. Love to see it. That
almost put it on this card again, but decided to stay off.
Yeah. You quit while you're ahead. You can always circle back to it. Really nice there from you, Deb. But yeah, we both turned in winning cards. That's back-to-back winning shows for us, picking up a little momentum here as we get to the business end of the season. So can we keep it going here on the weekend and make it 3 profitable shows on the bounce? I think we can. We got a lot of games picked out here. Some matches that you're on, some that I'm on, some we're both on together. So lots of fun here. If you guys are in the chat with us watching live, we appreciate you being here. Tell us what you're playing on these matches, because there are a lot of angles that you could have for some of these.
A lot of angles, Jordan, and a lot of games that we're going to get to. So let's just dive in right away to this thing. And it gets started on Sunday with a North London derby. It's Tottenham Hotspur hosting the Arsenal. This one sees Tottenham as home dogs of a full goal +1. The total is set at 2.75. Jordan, Arsenal dropping points again in the title race in the midweek. Their reward for finishing top of the Champions League was to just have a random extra EPL game thrown in the midweek because why not? But Look, they dropped points in it, and that City is right behind them, Manchester City right on their heels, and now they got to go to their crosstown rivals, Tottenham, who are on a new manager bounce. Igor Tudor at the helm. A lot's happening here, Jordan. What do you think about this matchup?
Dev, I'm looking forward to watching it. I'll tell you that much. It should be interesting. Yeah, look, weird for Arsenal there, right? It wasn't just that they dropped points. It was that they, the number 1 team in the league, dropped points to the rock bottom team in the league in Wolves. And oh, by the way, they were up 2-0. So that's wild. And look, Dev, they are still the favorites to win the EPL, -163 at time of recording. Man City, +150 right there. But listen, I'll tell you how the math works out with this. If Man City win every game the rest of the way, they are champions.
Wow.
Because they do host Arsenal. So if they win that in every other game, that's it. That's the math. I don't necessarily think City will do that, but pretty interesting. For this game, though, Dev, look, you said it. Spurs with a new manager, Igor Tudor, our old buddy. We've seen him a few times putting out fires in other leagues. Can he do that with Spurs here? I'm not sure. That's one of the reasons I'm interested in seeing this. Also, because I want to see what kind of reaction we get from Arsenal after that cock up in the midweek. Dev, maybe a little bit of nerves creeping in for Arsenal. You would think that they'd come here, be motivated against their bitter rivals to put things right and have a bounce back. But what does Igor Tudor have up his sleeve? How's this team going to set up, this Spurs team? Is he just going to see this as a free hit because no one expects them to win against Arsenal and they just go out and blitz them? I don't know. Do they have the horses to do that? Too many question marks for me in this one, Dev, and shockingly, I've decided to pass.
Crazy. I got to be on it, Jordan. I mean, this should be a fun match, sort of. I mean, I think Igor Tudor, the only He said he might have something up his sleeve. I mean, what's it going to be? Like a magic wand to get all the guys off of the injury list, because Tottenham's so banged up right now. Their injury list is insane. But mainly, let's talk about their defense. Okay, so Igor Tudor typically plays with the back three with wing backs. Is he going to institute that system right away? I mean, we haven't seen that really played under Thomas Frank. He did go into that a couple times, but like typically it was a 4-4-2 or like a 4-2-3-1 kind of system under Frank. And now we're just going to change the system, or is he going to keep it how it is? No matter what happens, he's got a ton of replacement guys out there. They've got like two healthy defenders. They've got Van de Ven, they've got Dragoshin, and it looks like they're going to deputize like Joao Polina to play center back, Archie Gray maybe to play center back. Jed Spence at least plays defense. He could be there as one of the wing backs. But they're missing Romero. Their captain is suspended after getting a red card to get Thomas Frank fired, which is kind of funny. So I worry about that defense for Spurs. And because of that, I'm looking at goals here. I'm looking at Arsenal to score a lot of goals. So I'm looking at Arsenal team total. You've got it up on the card here. Over 1.5 is -163. Arsenal to score three times team total over 2.5 is +200, and that's where I'm going, Jordan. I'm taking the 2-1. I'm taking the big swing here. Arsenal to score 3 times. In the reverse of this fixture in at the Emirates, Arsenal won 4-1. You don't often see like crazy high scoring in these North London derbies with the derby atmosphere, but I just think with that banged up back line, Arsenal needing to put things right after the midweek, they come out here and it could get ugly for Tottenham. So maybe Tottenham could get on the score sheet too. I don't know. I'm going for the greedy play here, Jordan. Over 2.5 team total Arsenal, 2-1.
Yeah, Dev, I like the bravery that you're showing there. Of course, if Arsenal score 3 times, that covers the total where it's lined, at least half covers the total there. So I like you extracting some plus money out of it, making all the goals come from Arsenal. You said both teams to score -125. We have seen that in a lot of North London derbies. So can Spurs at home get on the score sheet? Interestingly enough, you mentioned Dragoshin. He played with Tudor at Juventus, and so did Kulusevski. He's obviously out injured, but a few guys that he's worked with before. So yeah, I don't know. Is he going to be able to whisper to these guys and get something going? He's had a whole week where Arsenal had to go to Wolverhampton, deal with that. So should be interesting.
Should be interesting. I hear why you're staying away, though, George. You want to see what Igor has to offer. Jack in the chat says Igor Tudor is like Ange 2.0. High press, center backs pushing up. Should be nuts. Yeah, we will see. That's what I'm thinking. Goals, baby. Let's go. And let's move on, George, to our next matchup. This one is taking place on Saturday, and it's Manchester City hosting Newcastle United. This one sees City as home favorites here of 1.25 goals, -1.25, and the total is set at 3.25. George, Newcastle midweek had to travel to Azerbaijan, where they absolutely annihilated Qarabağ. 6-1, I believe, was the final score there. 7-goal thriller. Well, not much of a thriller, just an ass-kicking, really. And Manchester City having the week off, now they can earn that game in hand by getting 3 points here. What do you think about this matchup?
Dev, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, Man City obviously need to pick up the 3 points in this one. As I say, if they win every game the rest of the way, they will be Premier League champions. And Dev, we've seen it before from this Man City team. As we round into this part of the season, the late part of the season, they become Terminators and just start picking up points and going on these crazy runs. They probably watched that Arsenal game the other day and just licking their lips like, come on, we got them right where we want them. Look at the nerves creeping in. This is exactly what we want to see, because they've been here. They've done that. And yeah, I think they could be pretty scary down this stretch. Also, not great news for Newcastle that they had to travel to Baku, Azerbaijan. And now that's like a 17-hour flight or something crazy like that. And now they had to go back. Now they got to travel again to Manchester. So a lot of their time in the last couple of days has been spent traveling, not a lot of rest and recovery. And oh, by the way, they have a terrible record against Man City. I believe Man City has won 6 of the last meetings to nil. 6 of the last 6 to nil. Is that true in the league?
No, their last matchup at Newcastle was a defeat 2-1 to Newcastle.
Interesting. Maybe it's at the Etihad.
At the
that
Etihad
might
makes more sense.
That could be it. But I will look that up when
I've
I
never
pass
been
it
more
to you.
satisfied to say anything than telling you that.
Well, also, I should point out, because someone mentioned in our chat the other day when we were talking about Newcastle, that Newcastle has lost every game that Bruno Guimaraes hasn't started. And we were like, I'm not sure if that's a real stat, but it sounds good. It was slightly off. They've never won a game that he hasn't started in the Prem. So, yeah, not great, because he's not going to be starting this one. And City at the Etihad against Newcastle, I will get you the numbers on that when I pass it back to Dev. Pretty dominant. So I expect them to win this match. I was going to just take it where it's lined at -1.25, but I want to be able to push out if they only win this thing by a goal. I think they could win this to nil. I think they could win it by margin. And I fear for Newcastle in this fatigued spot. So I'm going to go with a little bit more cautious of a play. I'm going to move that handicap down to -1, still playable at -138, and get the push possibility on my side if City only win by 1. So Man City -1 on the Asian handicap.
Right on, Jordan. Yeah, we see the total here lined at 3.25. So I was pretty excited to be able to get both teams to score and over 2.5 at -125. I think that's pretty good value for gaining 3/4 of a goal onto my side just to add the both teams to score. Now, will Newcastle score? I mean, City have been leaky at the back. It's not like they're this stalwart defensively. We talked about how they've had some problems defensively, guys in and out of the lineup. They have their fair share of clean sheets, don't get me wrong. But Newcastle, we've seen over 2.5 goals in 6 straight games for them, with both teams scoring in 7 straight. So I'm sure City are going to score because it's at the Etihad. Can Newcastle get on the score sheet? I think so. And then a third goal just seems extremely likely. I think the way Newcastle play with their like aggressive, high tempo, fast, speedy guys, wingers, I think they can get at City here. So I fear a little bit for City. The last time they had this like full game in a hand that Arsenal dropped points, they ended up dropping points too. So can they keep the pressure on? I expect them to win. They're favored by more than a goal, but I'm happy to just take both teams to score and over the classic Jordan -125.
Yeah, that's fair enough, Dev. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if Newcastle get on the score sheet. But yeah, it is. It's 6 straight wins to nil for Man City at the Etihad against Newcastle in the Premier League. 4-0, 1-0, 2-0, 5-0, 2-0, 5-0, 2-0. So look out, Newcastle.
Look out. Yeah, well, we'll see how they fare on Saturday, Jordan. Let's move on to our next matchup. This one is going to be this on Sunday. This is Nottingham Forest hosting Liverpool. This one sees Forest as home dogs of 3/4 of a goal, and the total set at 2.75. Jordan, Liverpool enjoying their week off. Nottingham Forest in the in the Europa League this week ended up winning 3-0 away to Fenerbahce. Really nice victory for them, and they have a new coach as well. It's Vitor Pereira, we know from Wolves, a short stint at Wolves, and now he's over at Forest. And they got to host Liverpool. What do you think about this matchup?
Well, Dev, yeah, the Pereira era has begun once again, this time in Nottingham. Yeah, we talked about the Pereira era last season when he kept Wolves up, came in. What's the first thing he did? Shored up the defense, made them hard to beat, started picking up results, kept them up, had a pretty nice stint. And I guess that's why he's been brought in here for Nottingham Forest, to keep them up, make them hard to beat. And maybe we're already seeing the fruits of that as they won 0 today, as you mentioned, in the Europa League. Can they do that against Liverpool at home here? Has he had enough time? I don't know. Doesn't help that they had the midweek game, of course, and have a quick turnaround here to take on a Liverpool team who are starting to really find some form. But again, Dev, for the same reasons as the Spurs match with Igor Tudor coming in, I'm going to pass on this one because I want to see how Forest look here. I thought long and hard about just taking Liverpool on the money line because Forest have been dog shit They picked up some wins here and there under Dice. She wasn't getting terrible results or anything, but they just did not look good. And I'm not sure that Pereira can fix it that quickly, but he did fix it really quickly with Wolves. That's why we kept talking about how excited we were with the Pereira era. So I don't want to get in the way of that here. Let me see it first. I'm not going to take a road favorite against it. What do you got?
I'm going to do it, Jordan. I'm going to take the road favorite, brother.
I'm going to do it.
Look, you can take Liverpool on the money line here, minus 125. I'm going to take the Asian handicap, minus 3/4 at plus 103.
Whoa.
Is this a wise bet? It's a question because these head-to-head matchups between the two, Liverpool have not beaten Nottingham Forest in 3 straight head-to-heads. And only one of those was at the City Ground where they drew 1-1. Otherwise, they lost to 0 the past 2 times at Anfield. So now they're going to the City Ground. Tough place to go. But I just like what I've seen from Liverpool lately. I feel like they're starting to figure out what they're doing, finally integrating some of these pieces. This week off is going to be huge for them. Nottingham Forest, these Premier League teams that have to travel midweek that aren't at the Champions League level, but at Europa or Conference League, play midweek somewhere weird. And this time it's Istanbul against Fenerbahce. Then they travel back home. It's a lot of travel and an extra game in their legs against a Liverpool side who's fully rested. So Liverpool should win this game. So I'm going to take that 0.75. If they only win by 1, I'll push half the stake. And I'll tell you, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous about it based on the head-to-head records. But look, I just think this Liverpool team is rounding into the end season form here, and I think they should be able to get the victory. And that's what I'm going to go with, Jordan. Minus 3/4 of a goal for a road favorite. What could go wrong?
Look, I wish you luck on it, Dev. I just want to take a minute to gloat that I saw the payout for my future on Liverpool's season points total to go under 79 points. That has cashed already. They cannot achieve more points than 78. So love that, Dev. Look, we said it at the beginning of the season. Slot's a bald fraud. That doesn't mean he can't beat Vitor Pereira's Forest side.
Oh, unreal, Jordan. All right, let's move on. We got a ton of matches to cover here. And this next one on Saturday is Chelsea hosting Burnley. This one sees Chelsea as big home favorites, minus 2 on the Asian handicap. Total set at 3.25. Jordan, I don't have a ton to say about this one. We know Burnley likely to get relegated. Chelsea have put together some results under their new manager. What do you think about this matchup on Saturday with Burnley traveling to Stamford Bridge?
Well, Dev, the first thing I'm going to say about this is that this spread is absurd. It's absolutely absurd. This Chelsea team should not be laying 2 goals to anyone in the Premier League right now. It's just crazy. And longer-term listeners to the Soccer Sharps will know that I do enjoy betting Burnley spreads, particularly when they're on the road and the market seems to disrespect them more than it should. That's what we call fishing for value, digging for value, right? It's just not commensurate with the performances that Burnley are putting in or the performances that Chelsea are putting in, for that matter. When I tell you that Burnley have only failed to at least push this spread 3 times all season, and they're getting it against this Chelsea team who haven't covered this spread more than, I wish I had the number, that would have sounded so much cooler, more than once all season.
I'm looking at it right now. They've done it 3 times. They've covered.
So there you go,
pushes,
3 and 3.
Yeah.
3 and 3. Under Senior, I don't believe they've covered it at all. They've kept 1 clean sheet. Yeah, so they haven't covered it at all under Senior. They've kept 1 clean sheet under Liam Senior. And so I was torn here, Dev, because I'm thinking this Chelsea team is just too leaky. We've watched it with them under Senior. Maybe it's part of the identity. It's the way they play. That would be generous. I think the defense is looking pretty suspect in a lot of these matches. And fair play to them. They have the quality going forward that they can get themselves out of a jam a lot of times. My own team, West Ham, went up 2-0 on them. They came roaring back 3-2, crushing defeat in the end for my Irons. But that's the kind of thing they can do with the talent they have at their disposal. But to be winning this game by 3 clear goals is just insane. Like, show me how often they do that. As you said, 3 times all season. And under Racinier, it hasn't happened. Dev, I was torn. Do I take both teams to score? Yes. I think it happens. Minus 106, great price. But I told myself, look, if Burnley do score, it's going everywhere towards covering the spread, right? Or going a long way towards covering the spread. And if they don't, it's probably safer to have had the +2 on your side. So that's where I'm going to take it. It's been good to me with Burnley on the road thus far. I remember them getting a draw at Anfield with a wild spread as well. Could they get a draw here? I wouldn't write it off, but they can lose this thing by 1 and I get a full cash. If they lose it by 2, I'm not losing any money. It's too big, Dev. End of case.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jordan. +2 for any Premier League team is just too much. Yeah, you got to go back to November 8th, the last time Chelsea won a game by 3 clear goals. So it's been some time. But I stayed off this one, Jordan. I wish you luck. We've got one more EPL match for you guys, and it's West Ham United against Bournemouth. This one sees your West Ham Irons, Jordan, favored by a quarter of a goal. Favored at home by a quarter of a goal. Shocking to see that. And the total set at a flat 3. Jordan, your Irons, they're fighting. Can they stay alive? Can they stay up this season? They got to host this Bournemouth side that's full of goals. What do you think about this matchup?
Well, it would help a lot, Dev, if your Liverpool play cashes. Because if Liverpool can beat Forest and West Ham can get a result here, it's looking a lot more likely that there's a chance for survival. Look, the performances have been a lot better. They're finally starting to click under Nuno. Some of the January signings that have come in have really paid off. And yeah, we're seeing better performances and better results. And the performances is the key thing for me, Deb, because yeah, like that Chelsea match I mentioned was obviously brutal. You're up 2-0 and you lose the game. But the fact that we got up 2-0 at Stamford Bridge was encouraging, right? For the position that West Ham are in. It's showing that this team are putting in the fight. They're showing the belief in Nuno, and performances are getting better. Now, this Bournemouth team, they're actually getting better too. They had a really bad run for a while, but they're starting to pick up with the goals again. I think this could be an exciting match. I could see goals in it from both ends. Obviously, the market agrees with that. I'm not saying anything crazy. Both teams score yes, minus 200. But Dev, I was trying to extract value from it, and I'm a little wary of playing it for goals because we have seen some unders when these teams meet historically. The most recent meeting, the reverse fixture of this season, was a 2-2. So you like that. But prior to that, we've had a lot of 1-1 draws. And this is kind of like a draw fixture. I think West Ham and Bournemouth have had more draws in the post-Moyes era for West Ham than with any other team. So that draw at plus 2,700 looks great. That's a typo, though. It's supposed to be plus 270.
Okay. I was like, whoa, we got to take it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be plus 270 there if you're watching this on the graphic. But yeah, not a bad shout there. Plus 270 for a couple teams that love to draw with each other. But I'm going to have a little more belief in my Irons at home here with the way they've been playing lately. So I looked to that spread, Dev, but I'm decided to bring in another wrinkle. I'm going to be even more bullish. I'm going to take West Ham to cover the same spread, but in the first half. I'm cutting the game in half here, Dev. We've talked about it on the show before. West Ham are often scoring the first goal in these matches. Scoring the first goal, at least scoring in the first half. So that was the first place I looked, but there's not a lot of value on it. It's coming in around minus 120 for them to score first, minus 125 to get a first half goal. So I decided to play a more bullish spread. If this thing is 1-1 at halftime, if West Ham don't get a goal and it's 0-0, something like that, then obviously I lose half of my stake. But I'm going to take them minus 0.25 on the first half Asian handicap. And that's coming at plus 130. I love the price there. If they do continue the trend of scoring first and taking a lead into halftime, I will be happy. And the reason I didn't want to go full game is that West Ham have lost 20 points this season from winning positions. That's the worst mark in the league. So they love to start hot and look really good, and then they collapse. So wanted to remove the second half, and that's what I've done. First half minus 0.25.
Nice, Jordan. I like how in the margins you get with that to give you some kind Can't think of the word. Anyway, West Ham have been the first to score in 8 straight matches across all comps. They've also had a first half winner in 6 of the last 8 across all comps. So that helps you. But Jordan, I'm not even looking at the side when I got goals sitting right there. Both teams have scored in 9 of the last 10 Burnley games and 6 of the last 8 West Ham games. You mentioned when they get together, it goes under, right? Under 2.5 goals in 5 of the last 7. But the one earlier this year, you mentioned it was a 2-2. I'm going to take this just where it's lined. Over 3 goals in the Asian handicap, minus 108. It just feels like every time I watch a Bournemouth game, there's just goals everywhere. They just seem to be crazy and fun. I could totally see that happening here again. You worry about some of the injuries on the Bournemouth side. I think that's why West Ham's maybe favored, that and the fact that they're at home here. But you're missing Marcus Tavernier and Justin Kluivert, who've been very good for Bournemouth. So some of their creativity out of the lineup, maybe that hurts the goal scoring a little bit. But maybe West Ham picks it up. Right, I could totally see this being like a 2-2, 3-1 situation either way, honestly. So I'm happy with that 3. If it is like a 2-1, I push out, and I will gladly take it, Jordan.
Yeah, Jeff. So we're rooting for a 1-0 West Ham at halftime, and then a 3-1 West Ham full time.
Hell yeah. Damon Bond in the chat says, late to the party, but great to see the card. Hope to see some Victor. I don't know what that is, but I love it.
Yeah, is that Victor Pereira? Or is that victory without the Y?
It was somebody yelling about something, which I love to see. But, Jordan, that's going to do it for our EPL matches. We finally got through them. We got a bunch on the card, and now we're moving over to La Liga, which translates from Spanish as the League. It's Osasuna hosting Real Madrid. Yeah, it's got to get the Madridista pronunciation there. Osasuna.
Osasuna.
Osasuna in this one are 3/4 of a goal underdogs plus 0.75. The total is set at 2.75. Jordan, Real Madrid winning at Benfica in a 1-0 after a wonder goal by Vinicius, followed by absolute madness on the pitch and stuff we'll probably get into on our Champions League show, which we'll let you guys know will be on Monday night. So check us out for that one as well. But Jordan, this one, Madrid coming off of that win, although weird circumstances. Now they're traveling to Osasuna. What do you think about this matchup?
Well, Dev, this probably won't be as compelling a match as the Benfica Real Madrid one was. But look, Real Madrid are at the top of La Liga now. They've been putting together performances. They've been good. They weren't bad under Alonso by any means. I think that a lot of that was overblown. But under Arbeloa, they have looked good. They're continuing that. They've overtaken Barcelona and look like they're poised to go through to the next round in the Champions League, most likely. So good times for Real Madrid right now. I expect they win this match. That's probably what I would look at. I passed on this game, but yeah, just not loving the road favorite at minus 150, minus 143. But I do think they probably get the job done here, and there are a lot of ways you could extract some extra value to get a better price. And I know you've done that, Dev.
Well, yeah, Jordan. I mean, look, I'm not going to hand ring. I'm not you. I'm just going to take it where it's lying, baby. They're giving us the 3/4. 3/4 at minus 111. Look, I think Madrid win. I'm looking forward to betting on Madrid right now because I think the whole Vinny situation is going to galvanize the team around him. I think they're going to have a real togetherness in the side and just like be wanting to kick ass, particularly against Benfica. I cannot wait to bet on that match. But that's next week. So we've got this weekend. And unfortunately, Osasuna are the team that has to face off against them next. I expect Madrid to win. So I feel pretty confident with that 3/4. Can they win by a margin? Sure. We've seen a lot of goals in Osasuna matches, over 2.5 in 5 of the last 6, with both teams scoring in 5 of the last 6. So Osasuna could get on the board here. I wouldn't be shocked to see it. But that's pretty much the end of the cap, Jordan. They've overtaken Barcelona. Barcelona completely flailing right now. They look a shell of themselves. They had a players-only meeting, which is typically something you hear about in like NFL circles. We had a players-only meeting, and it's never a good sign. It means things are going badly. and now Madrid are ahead of them, and I think they just keep the good times rolling. This is their part of the season. We roll into March. This is Madrid time, so expect them to get this done here against Osasuna.
Madrid time. Love it. Dev, and obviously we tried to move on from the Prem, but I had to bring up one more thing about it. Look, it's the best league in the world, so relax, people. You don't mind hearing about it.
I don't think they do, no.
Look, the last 5, when you pull up the form tables for the leagues on Transfer Market, we were talking about this because we were wondering why West Ham might be favored. I just pulled it up to see. So when you pull it up on Transfer Market, it does the last 5 match days in the league, and I'm pretty shocked by who the top 4 are in the Prem for the form tables. Number 1, Chelsea, 4 wins and a draw. Number 2, Manchester United, 4 wins and a draw. Number 3, Bournemouth, 3 wins and 2 draws. And then number 4, West Ham with 3 wins, a draw, and a loss. Very interesting top 4 in the table there. Would have been better to bring that up during 2 of those teams meeting in Bournemouth and West Ham, but alas, I was late.
Like any excuse to foist West Ham into this pod, Jordan. We know you're going to take it. But look, we got more La Liga action for you guys. It's Real Sociedad hosting Real Oviedo, which has a Swedish flag in the center of their crest. Look, Sociedad in this one are a full goal favorite at home, -1, hosting bottom of the table Oviedo. Jordan, what do you think about this matchup?
I like the way that sounds. Bottom of the table, Oviedo. Bottom of the table, Oviedo. Yeah, Dev, that Swedish flag thing, I noticed that too. Interesting with these, like in Italy, like half the badges in Serie A have the English, like the St. George's Red Cross flag. Very interesting. Yep. Maybe this actually is a Swedish cross. Have to look into that. Or maybe someone in the chat knows. Anyway, pretty quick handicap here on this one. Dev, you said it. Oviedo are dog shit. They're going down. Real Sociedad. Look, last time anyone saw them in La Liga, they were getting boat raced by Real Madrid. Their Real Sociedad's 11 or 12 match unbeaten streak came crashing to a halt there. Unfortunately for you, as you had them plus a goal and a half, we thought, come on, unbeaten in 11, they're getting a goal and a half. It's too much. But no, Real Madrid were here. It's Madrid time, as you say. So Saucy have to have a bounce back here. Saucy, what we like to call them. Shout out to our friends on the Plus Money podcast who call them the social dads. I like that as well.
That's good.
But we call them Real Saucy over here. And look, they have to bounce back here. This is a winnable game. They're at home. No excuses. They got to win this match. And I think they do it by scoring some goals, Dev. Obviously, you can't win without scoring, but scoring more than 1 goal is what I mean. I'm taking them to win the match, and I'm tacking on that total over 2.5 goals. That brings me up to plus 137. I like that value. I do think Oviedo could get on the score sheet. Saucy have been leaky, but I do expect them to score the majority, and there's, precedent for them winning this thing 3-0. We've seen Oviedo lose to that scoreline to some of the better teams in the league. So the reverse fixture of this did not go well for Sociedad. They actually lost it, but that was when they were a very different team. They've got a new manager now, and as I mentioned, apart from that blip against Real Madrid, they have been unbeaten in quite some time. So look for the win here, and in a relatively goal-heavy game, plus 137.
Right on, Jordan. Yeah, I'm staying off of this. I got no interest in betting on a team at the bottom of La Liga. But I wish you luck in that one, Jordan. Let's move over to slightly more intriguing matchup for my tastes, and it's the Serie, where we're taking a look at Juventus hosting Lake Como. This one sees Juventus as half-a-goal favorites at home, and the total set at 2.5. Jordan, Juve got smashed by Galatasaray in Turkey this week in the midweek, and Como actually played a makeup match in the Serie A in the midweek, so they don't have a rest advantage, and I believe that was a draw against AC Milan 1-1. But what do you think about this matchup with the upstart Como traveling to the old lady Juve?
It's too bad that Como had to play that makeup match. That was thanks to the Winter Olympics opening ceremonies at the San Siro, so they had to have that rescheduled. It's too bad because it would have been a really nice advantage for them after Juventus got embarrassed in Turkey in the midweek. And then obviously that was some travel for Juve, and they come back here. looking to get right again in the league because they're almost certainly, well, I shouldn't say that, but they're very likely out of the Champions League now. It's going to be tough for them. I'm not saying they can't score 3 goals against Galatasaray, but I can't see them keeping a clean sheet. They can't keep a clean sheet for love nor money right now, Dev. They're too leaky. And oh, by the way, their best defender, Bremer, left the match midweek with an injury. So that's not great at all. And this Como team, they're plucky, Dev, and these teams are right in the same spaces trying to fight for those European places. So back-to-back in the table, I believe. So Como, I think, again, it's a shame that they had that midweek game, but I think they'll back themselves to maybe get something out of this. I definitely think they can get on the score sheet. As I've mentioned, the Juve defense, very suspect right now. But I'll tell you what, there's nothing wrong with this Juve attack. They can be clinical. They have match winners in the side. I see both teams scoring in this one. I think the price is great. -125. I'll take that. End of cap.
Right on, Jordan. Well, I'm going to go in a similar direction, but I'm going to take the better price here. I'm going to go with the over 2.5 +103. Yes, you can cash with a lower scoreline of 1-1, which I think this game starts there. Honestly, Como have been so hot. They are the both teams to score specialists, as they are called in our Discord. Both teams have seen both teams to score in 4 of the last 5 meetings. 4 to 5 last matches across all comps. And Juventus have over 2.5 goals in 5 straight across all comps. They can't keep the back door closed. They're letting anybody run up in there. And I think we could totally see a third goal here from someone. This could be a 3-0 either way, which is why I kind of wanted to go with the total. But it's pretty hard to imagine either team getting to 3-0. I mean, we're going to need an early goal to get this total to come over, I think, because you mentioned 5th and 6th in the table, 4 points between them. Fascinating end of the season in Serie A. We've seen this the past several seasons, actually, that we have a really there's been an outright title race, but really that top 4 to top 6 race is very exciting. So should be fun end of the season. And hopefully this can get more fun with teams like Juventus giving up goals, because they're one of the worst. Not one of the worst. They're one of the leakier teams in Serie A right now in terms of their like big teams. They're not like Verona or something, but they don't know how to defend. They're not interested in it. So I think this should be a fun match. Give me over 2.5 +103, Jordan. Well, it wouldn't be a Soccer Sharp show if we didn't dash on over to the Bundesliga. We're taking a look at Bayern Munich hosting Eintracht Frankfurt. This one sees Bayern, the Bavarians, are 2.5 goal favorites, -2.5, and the total is set at 4.25. Look, the bookies are telling you how this is going to go. They're daring anybody to take Bayern in this one as 2.5 goal favorites. I'm not going to do it, but what do you think about this matchup, Jordan?
Deb, I was just wondering, did Igor Tudor coach Frankfurt at one time? Or am I confusing him with someone else?
I don't believe so. He coached Juve. We were just talking about
Juve.
We
were talking about that, but I thought maybe he had a Bundesliga team. I'm probably confusing him with some other bald. But look.
I don't think... Is he bald?
Yeah, he's bald.
He is, okay.
So, it'd be funny if he wasn't, though. Listen. Yeah, boy, these prices, huh? These lines, these prices, really tough to find value here because, look, I know at one point Frankfurt under Topmüller, our friend Dino Topmüller.
Miss him. Just a money printer. He was great.
Yeah, so many goals, usually conceding them. But, just goals everywhere. I'd be happy taking the over 4.25 with Topmüller at the helm. But, yeah, it's still attainable. It's not like Frankfurt have really fixed things that they can't get crushed by Bayern at the Allianz. But I don't know. It's a bit rich for me. I'm not sure I want to take that. The spread I thought about for Bayern, just like don't complicate it. Take it where it's lined. Can they win this by 3? Absolutely. But, they still have a 6-point lead at the top. They're gearing up for Champions League. How seriously are they taking these home matches against teams that they should coast against? The answer to that is maybe more seriously than I'd think at first glance, because they have had some blips lately where they have dropped points and created the hint of a title race in Bundesliga. And we do have Der Klassiker coming up the weekend after this. So I cut the game in half, Jeff. That's what I decided to do. Shorten the game like I've done in a couple other situations on this card. And I'm taking Bayern to win the first half, but on the spread, on the Asian spread, I'm taking them -1. We call it the free hit. As long as Bayern win the first half, I'm safe. Hopefully they score a few and already have margin at halftime, which I think they absolutely can. They come out guns blazing, put this Frankfurt team to the sword early. Could easily see myself cashing that play. So Bayern Munich to win the first half by margin. Bayern Munich -1 on the Asian handicap in the first half, coming in at -133. A little bit juicy, but relatively safe.
Yeah, boy, they're jacking up prices. They're making you really, really earn it for Bayern. Yeah, I mean, that's just such a huge spread. I would almost lean Frankfurt in it because Bayern would be happy with like a 3-1 win. Just be like, yeah, we took care of business, dominated, and Frankfurt would still cover. But I'm not going that way, Jordan. I'm going to do a little parlay. I'm going to take Bayern to win the game, but with both teams to score, yes, parlayed with it. Can they give up a goal? They going to win. Can they give up a goal? We hope so. We've seen both teams scoring 8 of the last 10 Frankfurt matches, and 5 of the last 7 head-to-heads between these two have seen both teams scoring, but not the last 2. Earlier this season, Bayern beat Frankfurt 3-0, and the second game last season, Bayern beat Frankfurt 4-0. Get on the score sheet, Frankfurt. You can do it for us. Cash this bet. It's coming in at plus money. So we turned a Bayern play into plus money here at plus 110. Look, Bayern, they can be shaky defensively. They can go to sleep a little bit in the back line when they're dominating. So they could put up 5 or 6 goals in this match and maybe just let one in the back. That's what we want to see, George. So that's where I'm going. Bayern to win and both teams to score at plus 110.
Love it.
Jordan, we finally got to our last match here, and it's over in Ligue. Taking a look at our Racing Club de Lens against Monaco FC. Monaco playing midweek against Paris Saint-Germain. They're rivals from Ligue 1 and falling in that one, but only by 1 goal. They're still in the tie after getting red carded. And they went up 2-0. Our guy, the American, Flo Balogun. It's called Flo Balogun. 2 goals to start it off, and then they promptly ended up losing, I believe, 3-2. So, George, what do you think about this matchup now? Monaco turning around and facing off against top-of-the-table Lens.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Monaco here, Dev. As we talked about on that Champions League show, they've not been great lately. And, that's got to be a tough mental defeat for them in the midweek where they're up 2-0 and then just lose the match. Just had no answer for what PSG threw out there. And it could have been worse. Dembele missed a penalty. On another day, the tie is already over. And for all intents and purposes, it is. They're not going to go and get through now in Paris. So they turn their attentions to this. Can they finish in the European places? With the form they're showing in Liga right now, probably not. But this is a tall order to travel to. Number 1 in the table, Lens, right now. It is not PSG currently sitting in first place. It's still this Lens team who they've been leapfrogged a couple times, pipped a couple times, but they've pipped again, and they're right back at the top here. So this should be straightforward. I think they get the win here. -143, thought about playing it there, but it's a little too juicy. It's 7 cents shy of my full, the place I won't go below. So, Dev, I decided to do some hand wringing. What can I tack on to get a better price on the money line? It's essentially all I'm trying to do. So I tacked on under 5.5 goals. That brings the price to -125. That's a little more palatable. Last time I did this, it was with PSG and Marseille, and I took PSG to win an under 4.5 goals. It ended 5-0. So adding that extra goal should be safe. We don't see a lot of 6-goal matches for either of these teams.
Certainly don't. You're so allergic to the Asian handicap, Jordan. You got it up on the screen here, -3/4.
Yeah.
Just take it there.
Bill, I'll tell you why, Dev, because I think there's every chance this is a 1-0. And we've seen that with Monaco with Lens quite a few times at home. They did get to this position by playing defense. They have been tighter. Now I know they have had games where it flies over 2.5. Thought about playing it that way as well. But if it was a 1-0, which I could see, then that minus 114 on the minus 0.75 Asian handicap becomes much worse than minus 150 even. So yeah, I'm going to do the hand ring there. Just tack on that under 5.5 and fade that there will be 6 goals in this thing.
Right on, Jordan. Well, that's going to do it for us. Thank you all for sticking around. But Jordan, before we get out of here, there's something we got to do.
We do indeed, Dev, because it's one thing to talk about these matches, and it's quite another to put our money where our mouths are and pay the bookie.
Chuck, I'm going to tell you something. You have that fucking 200 in my hands tomorrow. If you ain't got the 200 in my fucking hands tomorrow, I'll break every fucking bone in your body.
All righty, Jordan, let's throw up the official plays on the screen. I'll read them out for the podcast listeners. I'm starting with the banger, baby. North London Derby. Arsenal team total over 2.5 goals. Scoring thrice against their arch rivals. Plus 200. Let's go. Manchester City against Newcastle. Both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at minus 125. West Ham and Bournemouth. Over 3 goals on the Asian total. Minus 114. Liverpool, minus 3/4 on the Asian handicap, minus 103. Real Madrid, minus 3/4 on the Asian handicap, minus 114. 2 road favorites. What could go wrong? Jordan, Juventus and Como, over 2.5 at plus 103. And finally, Bayern Munich on the money line, parlayed with both teams to score at plus 110. What do you got, Jordan?
All right, Dev. With Man City, I'm taking minus 1 for Man City on the Asian handicap at minus 138. West Ham United hosting Bournemouth. I'm taking West Ham first half minus 0.25 on the Asian handicap at plus 130. As Burnley traveled to Stamford Bridge to take on Chelsea, I'm taking Burnley plus 2 on the Asian handicap at minus 121. Real Sociedad host Real Oviedo. And I'm taking Sociedad or Saucy money line and over 2.5 goals at plus 137. In the same Juventus Como match where you're taking over 2.5, I'm taking both teams to score yes at minus 125. I'm taking Bayern Munich first half minus 1 on the Asian handicap at minus 133. And finally, the last match we talked about, Lens money line and under 5.5 goals at minus 125. Huge card.
Yeah, tons of plays. We could not get enough plays on the card. Love to see it. Jordan will be back on Monday for our Champions League second legs. So be sure to check us out there. Give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, wherever you're watching or listening to this. We do appreciate it. Helps us grow, particularly on YouTube. If you guys can jump over to YouTube, give us a subscription over there. That's really where we're trying to grow right now, and it would mean a lot to us and be great karma for your bets, let me tell you. Great karma. But Jordan, any last words for the people?
Great karma indeed, Dev. I think you said most of it there. I'll remind anyone who's new that we do have a free-to-join Discord server. The link's in the description. And always, bet responsibly, guys. We appreciate you being here. Manage those bankrolls. And let's try and make some money, huh?
Let's make some money.
Martial.